What's up, everyone? So I was watching SportsCenter on ESPN this morning, and they had this really concerning segment that has Knicks fans asking, is it time to be worried about this team? According to Karl-Anthony Towns in a recent media session, the Knicks are still working on their offense and trying to figure things out. But when speaking about his own role specifically, Towns made some absolutely shocking comments that nobody expected to hear this close to the season opener. The SportsCenter crew was breaking down all of these latest developments, and honestly, the tone in the studio was one of genuine concern. Karl-Anthony Towns made some shocking comments about his role with the Knicks, and the panel was asking, what is going on right now with this situation? We're literally one day away from the Knicks' first regular season game, and things don't seem right based on these comments. This all stems from remarks made by Karl-Anthony Towns to the media, where he addressed his new role under Mike Brown's offensive system. It wasn't necessarily what Towns said, but how he said it that has everyone concerned. His body language and tone were really troubling according to the analysis. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into this massive Knicks news, I just want to ask you for a quick favor that would mean the world to me. If you could just take 1 second right now and hit that like button, it would be incredibly important to me and helps this channel grow so much. I know it seems like a small thing, but those likes genuinely make a huge difference in getting this content out to more Knicks fans who need to stay updated on everything happening with this team. So seriously, just tap that like button real quick. It literally takes 1 second and it helps me out more than you know. Before they played the video clip on SportsCenter, the anchors wanted to set up what the reporter asked Towns so viewers would have proper context. Essentially, the reporter asked Karl-Anthony Towns, how does he see himself fitting into this new offense? And how does he feel about his new role under Mike Brown's system? Here's what Karl-Anthony Towns had to say in response, and his answer was stunning. Towns said honestly, I don't know, but we're figuring it out. He repeated it saying, honestly, I just don't know. Then the reporter followed up asking Towns about the speed of the offense and whether different aspects of Brown's system lend themselves to him being able to do things he couldn't do last year. The reporter was asking about potential opportunities that might open up for Towns that weren't available in the previous offensive scheme. But still, here was Towns' response. He said, it's just different. It's different. So we're still figuring it out. The SportsCenter panel was not expecting those types of comments from Karl-Anthony Towns at all. Now, everyone understands there's a lot going on for Towns right now with this transition. There's a new head coach, a completely new offensive system, and he's being asked to play a significantly different role than what he's accustomed to. With all of that change comes a lot of stress and pressure. Towns is probably learning a tremendous amount of new information and concepts. So his comments are absolutely believable and truthful. He genuinely is still figuring things out. The team as a whole is still working through the system and finding their identity. However, the panel emphasized it's not what Towns said, but how he said it that's so concerning. His body language was really troubling. The analysts were asking viewers, is it just us? Or does Karl-Anthony Towns look a little bit upset, maybe even pissed off in that video? Before he answered that first question about his role, Towns took this long, awkward pause. He looked irritated and frustrated, and then he gave that answer. The panel didn't like his response at all from a confidence standpoint. We're one day away from the Knicks' first regular season game, and that is absolutely not what you want to hear from your all-star big man. Maybe they're still legitimately figuring things out as a team, but the expectation was Towns would sound at least a little bit more hopeful or optimistic. At the very minimum, he should sound somewhat confident in the process. But Karl-Anthony Towns' body language and his verbal response were really concerning, according to the SportsCenter analysis. The panel hopes this is all just Towns being overly honest, or maybe there's some misunderstanding about the context, and that come game day tomorrow, the Knicks are going to be fully ready and can take down the Cleveland Cavaliers convincingly. But hearing Karl-Anthony Towns make these comments, they had to be honest. It's not what anyone wants to hear going into tomorrow's huge matchup against the Cavs. You want to see your star players have confidence and belief in the system, even if there's still work to be done. The anchors understand that the offense is going to take some time to get right and become what Mike Brown wants it to be and what the players need it to be functionally. However, they wanted to hear significantly more confidence from Karl-Anthony Towns in that media session. Some viewers might be confused about what Towns means when he references his new role. Some fans might even be confused about what that new role actually entails. What does it mean that Towns has a new role with the Knicks? What specific role is he going to play this year for New York? Well, if anyone was wondering about those details, Mike Brown spoke with the media right after Towns made those comments and explained exactly what Karl-Anthony Towns' new role will look like. According to SNY's reporting, Mike Brown said that Karl-Anthony Towns will move between multiple positions within the same game in an offensive system that puts versatility at an absolute premium. According to Brown, first thing is, it's going to be a process, especially with Towns missing the last couple of preseason games. On top of that, Towns' learning curve is the steepest of anyone on the roster because he's got to learn all 5 positions conceptually. But the benefit of this system, according to Brown, is it's going to move Towns around constantly. He's not just going to always be stationed at the top of the floor in one spot. Towns will be in the strong corner. He'll be in the weak corner. He can be the screener in pick-and-roll actions, or he can be on the weak side wing. He can also be at the top of the key or in the dunker spot near the rim. That constant movement will help maximize his versatility. Brown explained that playing with pace will help the system function as they move away from starting possessions with traditional play call. Instead, they'll get into an offensive flow with players reading and reacting to situations in real time, allowing them to get right into their action. So now, opposing defenses may not be able to sit on and anticipate Towns' actions as much. If Towns is required to sprint into a ball screen, defenses may not know it's coming because he's in a completely different spot on the floor when he's about to set that screen. Primarily in Karl-Anthony Towns' first year with the Knicks last season, he played the center position almost exclusively. Sometimes he slid to the 4, but he really played the 5 for most minutes. Honestly, that was due to Mitchell Robinson missing most of the season with injuries. If Robinson was healthy and available consistently, you never know what role Karl-Anthony Towns might have played on that team. Maybe he would have played only the 4, or maybe he would have switched between the 4 and 5 depending on matchups, but he definitely would have never played the versatile role he's about to play this year under head coach Mike Brown. Under Brown's system, Towns is going to be moving all around the court constantly, and the Sports Center panel noted this is actually how many analysts wanted Towns utilized last season. There were constant calls for New York to implement a double big lineup, so you'd have one big inside the paint who can block shots and grab rebound, and then you'd have one of the best big man shooters in the entire league in Karl-Anthony Towns roaming all over the floor, creating mismatches. His inside-outside game would become even more dangerous and effective. He'd be nearly impossible to guard because he could pull up from 3, and he's absolutely capable of hitting that shot consistently. Then he could fake the three-pointer, drive inside, and score at the rim, get the and one, and go to the free throw line. Towns is incredibly dangerous as a floor-spacing big. Under Mike Brown's system, it's clear that once the offense clicks, and once Karl-Anthony Towns fully embraces and understands his new versatile role, he's going to thrive because this offensive scheme is specifically designed to allow him to showcase all his skill. As a floor-spacing big, he's almost unstoppable when used correctly. Then, you pair that versatility with better ball movement, Jalen Brunson operating off the ball more, Mitchell Robinson providing rim protection inside the paint, and then you have elite cutters in OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. The vision becomes clear when you think about it that way. This is exactly what Mike Brown wants to accomplish with this system, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time to implement, and it's going to require patience from everyone, the players, the coaching staff, and the fan. The panel understands that reality, and they're okay with that timeline. What they're not okay with is how Karl-Anthony Towns answered that specific question about his new role. His demeanor and tone were really concerning. This is another reason why Towns' comments are so troubling. He knows what the ultimate goal is. The Knicks organization knows what the goal is. Everyone knows the goal is to reach the NBA Final, and the championship odds prove that the Knicks are clearly in legitimate contention for that. Looking at the latest odds from FanDuel, OKC remains on top at plus 200 to win the championship. Then you have the Denver Nuggets at plus 700, the Cleveland Cavaliers at plus 700, then the New York Knicks at plus 1,200, the Clippers at plus 1,700, and the Houston Rockets also at plus 1,700. There's been a lot of movement throughout this offseason in terms of the teams on this championship favorites list. But honestly, the first four teams, OKC, the Nuggets, the Cavs, and the Knicks, that grouping has held true throughout the entire offseason. They've consistently been considered some of the favorites to win it all. And even today, as we approach opening night, that remains true. The Sports Center panel wants to be clear. They believe in this Knicks team. They believe in Mike Brown as a head coach. They believe in Karl-Anthony Towns as a player. They believe Towns will figure out this new role, even though it's challenging, new, and difficult to master. The good players, the great players, the all-stars of the game always eventually figure things out and thrive in their roles. Karl-Anthony Towns is going to get there eventually. The panel didn't like his comments in that media session, and they still don't like those comments. They're bothered by them more than a little bit, but they hope that New York tomorrow is fully focused and fully ready for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tomorrow's game is a statement game for both franchises. The Knicks versus the Cavs. Everybody around the league wants to see that matchup. These are two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and people are going to be watching this game closely, along with the Christmas Day rematch. The Knicks need to take this game and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers convincingly. The panel believes New York will win, but the team needs to lock in collectively and play together as a cohesive unit to take Cleveland down. So that was the full Sports Center breakdown of Karl-Anthony Towns' shocking and concerning comments about his new role in Mike Brown's offense and what it all means for the Knicks heading into opening night.